ready.
So finally, I'm getting around to showing you guys the custom clone troopers that I have made since the last video, which was about 3 years ago. So I've only made like a handful of clone troopers in those 3 years. I'm not one of those guys that pumps out customs left and right. I just kind of make them whenever I feel like it. And I've made how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? I've made 8, which ain't bad. That averages like maybe like 2, 3 a year, kind of around that. So that's pretty good. That's not bad, you know, just a few a year. But yeah, I wanted to show these off. Some of these I actually already have shown off in videos, and some I've even shown on Instagram. But I know a lot of people don't watch all my videos, and a lot of people don't, you know, follow my Instagram. You should, by the way. It's a good Instagram. But yeah, I'm going to show off some again. I'm not going to go into deep detail. Like, I already made an entire video on Clone Corner on my custom Commander Cody, based off the original Tardagovsky animated series. I've already made a whole video on this guy. But just to sum it up, he is scratch built with a lot of his... I mean, I did take some components, like the visor and the floodlights, and the antenna tip right there, and the jetpack, but like the shoulder pads and the antenna, all those are... Well, all those are scratch built, and, you know, I took some elements from other figures. Like you can see, he does have the belt pouch with the pistol in there. And overall, I really love this thing. This is probably one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorites for sure. I love this thing. This is kind of one of my go-to figures. I mean, I love it. And the other one I've already shown off. I also did a whole video on this. Was my Soundwave Clone. Soundwave Clone. I love this thing. It's not perfect, but I love it. It's enough for me, you know? There's still like some paint touch-ups I haven't even bothered to do yet. Like, I know I need to go back and touch up that blue, because the blue pin's kind of showing a little there. I feel like there's just a little touch-ups here and there I could probably go in and do, but like right there on the elbow, a little bit of the silver's wearing off. But I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm not a stickler for perfection. It's not like I'm trying to win any contests here. I made it for fun. So yeah, basically I took like a rocket launcher weapon. Like, you know, the launchers that like the... like the radiation launcher that the Magna Guard had, and like the launcher that the clone jet trooper had. I took that, made it into a shoulder cannon, and also used the handle for the gun. And then I used like a weird thing from The Force Awakens for laser beak. And overall, I think that turned out really good. I keep him on a base, because he's kind of got a lot going on with holding laser beak and all that. So yeah, there's those. Now let's move on to some that I haven't shown you guys yet, at least not here on the YouTubes. So I made an Ahsoka Trooper because I needed this in my life. Actually, what I did, I had a spare green Clone Commander helmet, and I took that, and the visor is already taken off of it, and I took the green paint off, and I just made an orange face. I did actually choose to make the paint look a little crude. For obvious reasons, because that's the whole point. So what I actually did to do that, I actually mixed orange with brown. So that actually makes it look a little more dirty, a little more crude as it was. Because it's kind of more of a realistic interpretation. It's not like it's not like an animated one. I think it turned out really good. I actually have touched up the paint a little bit since I posted it on Instagram, just making it look a little better. But overall, I'm really happy with that. I think it's definitely an improvement. When it comes to the base body, there's nothing changed from that. But I think my skills are getting better, and I'm happy about that, because I should be getting better. I mean, yikes, I've been doing this for a while. So next up, let's show another one I've been kind of previewing on Instagram. I kind of did a little bit of a preview, but this is the full unveiling of 501st Clone Pilot Hawk. Yeah, I made Hawk, guys, because I actually ended up getting a spare Goji. Or Gaji, however you want to say it. I don't remember where. Maybe it was the thrift store? It could have been the thrift store where I got that spare Gaji. It seriously could have been, but I've had it for a couple years now. Or maybe just a year. I don't know. I've had it. And I finally decided I'm going to go in and make Hawk. Because I was kind of thinking, which clone pilot should I make? And I decided on Hawk because he's kind of one of the more prominent 501st pilots. And also, he's blue. He's 501st. I like him. So this was actually really fun and irritating to make all at the same time. So I had to get all of the Godzilla stuff off of him. There's still a little bit of remnant in the creases there. I couldn't get that off. But then after I got that off with acetone, which if you're especially younger into customizing, if you're younger, I do not advise using acetone. Honestly, I don't really advise making customs at all. Wait until you're a little more skilled and older at it. But because see, even as a kid, I dared not make a custom because I knew I would make it look awful. I did kind of make some temporary customs with my Lego clones. I actually used like markers and just made like the colors on them, and I could just wash it off. But acetone is dangerous. It actually started to erode some of the plastic on the cheek. You can probably see a little bit of a blemish there where I was trying to get it off, and I had to go in and sand that down to make it look not horrible. But yeah, I really do like it. I got the blue stripe going down. The blue looks really good. I think I did a good job on that. The hawks were very fun. I loved... Why is that? Why is that? I swear it looks like he's got like a little... I can't get it off. I don't know what's irritating me now. But at the tip of that hawk's head, if it'll focus, it looks like he's got like another little blemish. I'll probably go in there and... Like, you can see it. It's like he's got a little tongue or something. It's irritating. Because he's supposed to just have, like on this one, just a little bit of the tip. I don't know why that's there. It might actually be a remnant from like Gaji and his paint. But what I actually did to make those, I drew them on with pencil, and then I went over with paint, and I painted over my drawing. So I think that's definitely the good way to do that. And I did that freehand. I drew it freehand, and I painted it freehand. Then I went in and scraped away excess paint on the edges. What was irritating, though, was the little lines on his chin. Working at this scale was a bitch, and that was not fun. He's supposed to have 4 lines on the chin, and mine kind of does. You can see 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th is kind of just on the edge there. I did what I could, man. I went through about 5 different versions of that chin before I finally got one I was happy with. But overall, I think it's really good. What I expected to be a simple paint job took the duration of an entire movie. By the way, I was watching the Aristocats, don't ask. But yeah, I did that. I painted that. And then I got 2 more left to show in 3 3/4 inch scale. Then I made a couple in a larger scale. So I've really been wanting a blue ARC Trooper, Tardagovsky style, and I just made one. I went and did it myself. So I'm not a fan of the blue. I kind of regret what I did. I wish I used a lighter blue, because I just used blue, right? I just used blue, normal blue, but it still came out way too dark. I didn't want it to be this dark, but that's... I was kind of too deep into it. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm just going to live with it. At least the paint job's pretty good. I think it looks nice and clean. I think it looks good. It's not perfect, because one thing that I couldn't help... I mean, he still has, like, the Fordo pouches, and he still, like, has Fordo-ness to him. I can't help that. That's the sculpt. Then again, if Hasbro made this, they would have used the same mold. They wouldn't have given him a new skirt, so it's how Hasbro would have done it. But one thing that's really irritating and I can't help is that. That's just how they made him. They made that pauldron where it just rubs against the shoulder. And I could try to sand down that shoulder to try to make the paint not rub, but at the same time, I'm always just going to want the arm right there. Like, that's where it'll be anyways. I mean, it could go up a little bit, but even if it went up, it's like you're still not going to... Like, you're not going to see it, so what's the worry? So I'm not too worried about that. This was a really fun one to do. This was really fun. I loved, basically, simply just going over the red. That's all I had to do. So yeah, I'm really happy I finally have a blue Tardagovsky style ARC Trooper. Even though I made the blue too dark, but I'm not too worried about it. It's fine. And then next up, I got my hands on a spare white Phase 1 Trooper. Oh my gosh, what am I talking about? I got my hands on a spare white Phase 2 Tardagovsky Trooper, and I decided, I'm going to have to talk about this one a little bit. This is not Fordo, no. This is Sassy Tin's Clone Captain. This is Sassy Tin's guy. You can barely see him in the show, but he is in the show. He has a couple scenes. There's one, and I based this off of both times you see him. There's one where he runs up to Sassy Tin, and he doesn't have the jetpack, and he doesn't have a shoulder strap. And then there's one time where he's running along with Sassy Tin, and he has the jetpack, but he also has like a Commander Neo style shoulder strap with like an extra pauldron right there. So I decided to amalgamate them. And I also wanted to make it how Hasbro would have made it, because Hasbro would not have given him anything new. They would have just used the Cody jetpack, which I have 1,000 Codys from when I got those keychains, so I was able to take one from one of those. And just the normal, Phase 2 Trooper. This is how Hasbro would have done it. Pretty simple deco, and my paint job is not the best. I kind of just slapped it together. Got some elbow pads, shoulder pads, knee pads, and then the helmet there. He's just got a red stripe and then some Jag eyes. And that was actually an artistic liberty right there, making that red. Not perfect, but I'm not too worried about perfection, guys. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, if it's good enough for me, that's my concern. As long as it's good enough for me, I'm fine. So there's those. Oh my goodness, is he just not going to want to stand up anymore? Probably. So there's my 3 3/4 inch ones I've made, which are really cool. My favorite out of all these, definitely the Cody. But after that, I'm actually really proud of how Hawk turned out. I'm really proud of that. So, like I said, that's the 3 3/4 inch ones. I also made a couple 12 inch, and I've shown these off on Instagram already. But Hasbro, for the 12 inch line, for the original Attack of the Clones 12 inch line, they made a yellow a yellow commander and a red captain. But they never made a blue lieutenant, and they never made a green sergeant. So I did. Hooray for me. So yeah, these guys, I don't really think they're yellowing. They actually just kind of gave like a Geonosis dirt to like the legs, which is weird, but that's what they did. Or they could be yellowing. I don't know. These figures kind of yellow sometimes. We'll see. But yeah, these are my sergeant, which you can see. I think with these guys, I think both of these were made out of plain white troopers. So I didn't have any lines to just paint over. I had to paint the lines entirely myself, which was tricky. Which was definitely tricky. Not the easiest. And definitely with the dots, those suffered. Especially on the lieutenant. I made the lieutenant first. The dots look pretty decent. I had to make them completely on my own. I had no guidance. But they're not angled right. I think I definitely got the angling a lot better on the sergeant. But yeah, I think these look really good. I mean, just looking, it's basically just green paint and then blue paint. And then there you go. You have a sergeant and a lieutenant. I just really wanted to complete this set on the 12-inch scale because, oh my gosh, it killed me that Hasbro just made the yellow and the red and they didn't make the green and the blue because, gosh, I hate when they don't finish the set. So I finished it for them. I went ahead and did it. Not very creative. As you can tell, I don't really do a lot of creative stuff with Clone Customs. I basically just do what Hasbro should have done. But I did do something creative with the Soundwave Clone, which I'm really proud of that. I want to make like my own OC Clone Trooper, though. I don't really do that. That's a pure creative piece. That doesn't go in with like my clone army at all. That I display that with my Soundwaves. But I want to make like an OC Clone Trooper character. Or like an OC Clone unit. Because Rust Belt Collector, he's made his own unit, and they look super sweet. And I just look at those, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to make my own unit. But I don't know what color scheme I'd go with. Because, 501st and 212th, they already got my two favorite colors right there, blue and orange. I could do... There's not a lot of yellow guys. There's not a lot of purple guys. I'm probably going to look at my Gundam shelves for inspiration. I'm not even joking. I might make them like silver. That would look cool. They're like silver decoing on them. I should give them white decoing. That look funny. But yeah, there we go. Here's my customs that I have made. Not nearly as many volume-wise as the ones that I've received. But still, I've made these, and I'm pretty proud of them. They're not perfect. I'm not going to say they're perfect. You can point out little paint imperfections of like, oh, the edge on that's a little crooked, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Working at this small scale, I'm lucky that I get them looking as good as they are. And I'm not a professional. I'm not like a customizer. I just make these for fun. And I think they look good. I think they look good for what I'm doing. Maybe someday I'll try to get a little more pro, but I'm not worried about it. I just live my life, okay? I collect the toys. I don't really make my own too much. This is kind of something I do more just for fun, okay? Please don't scrutinize me. Okay, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check my social media links, PO box address, and frequently asked questions down in the description below. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta!